It's Thursday, August 23rd. If the Captain Amarinder Singh-led Congress government has its way, Punjab will soon have a law not very dissimilar to the blasphemy law in theocratic states. The Amarinder Singh cabinet has cleared an amendment to the Indian Penal Code making sacrilege of religious texts punishable with life imprisonment. The amendment is the insertion of Section 295A to the IPC. What does the existing Section 295A say? Deliberate and malicious acts intended to outrage religious feelings of any class by insulting its religion or religious beliefs, by words either spoken or written, or by signs or by visible representation, shall be punished with imprisonment which may extend to 3 years or with fine or both. This is a cognizable offence, which is to say the police can arrest anybody on mere suspicion or on a complaint without a court-ordered warrant. Section 295A has been variously misused to harass, hound, intimidate, censor, and clamp down on dissent. Some recent examples include the arrest of comedian Kiku Sharda for mimicking the Dera Sacha Sauda chief Gurmeet Ram Rahim, the arrest of Shireen Dalvi of the Urdu newspaper Awadhnama for reprinting the cover of the controversial French publication Charlie Hebdo. Rationalist Sanal Idamarku was forced to flee the country after a case under 295A was filed against him after he proved that a statue of Jesus Christ at a Mumbai church that was found to be weeping was not a miracle. The water trickling down it was actually due to faulty plumbing. The pulping of Wendy Doniger's book The Hindus, an Alternative History following a complaint under 295A by Dinanath Batra. What is the legal argument against Section 295A? One, that it falls foul of the right to free speech and expression. Article 19(2) of the Constitution only allows for reasonable restriction upon the freedom of speech in the interest of public order. Section 295A criminalizes all speech that was intended to outrage religious feelings, whether or not they could cause public disorder. In its April 2017 judgment in the plea filed by cricketer MS Dhoni challenging criminal proceedings against him under 295A for being portrayed as Lord Vishnu on the cover of a business magazine, the Supreme Court had expressed concern over the misuse of the section. The court said, "It is clear as crystal that Section 295A does not stipulate everything to be penalized, and any and every act would tantamount to insult or attempt to insult the religion or religious beliefs of a class of citizens. Insults to religion offered unwittingly or carelessly or without deliberate or malicious intention to outrage the religious feelings of that class do not come within the section." It referred to the Constitution bench as having clarified that the said provision only punishes aggravated form of insult to religion when it is perpetrated with a deliberate and malicious intent of outraging religious feelings, emphasis being laid on the calculated tendency of the said aggravated form of insult and also to disrupt the public order to invite the penalty. That being said, many free speech proponents have argued that 295A needs to be struck off entirely. For one, not only is it blatantly misused, it encumbers even scholarly works analyzing religious texts, or indeed any debate or discussion or interpretation of religious texts or matters by anybody. There already exist other penal provisions to deal with hate speech or incitement to communal violence. The question now is whether Congress President Rahul Gandhi, who has made the pitch for free speech many times, will walk the talk. Or will political expediency, as is often the case, triumph over civil liberties? As floodwaters begin to recede in Kerala, the state government is taking stock of the massive mobilization and reconstruction efforts that will be required to rebuild the state. Among measures to raise finances, the state will urge the centre to raise the borrowing limit, will request the GST Council to impose a cess on state GST, The state finance minister has also spoken about creating special purpose vehicles to attract private capital in building big infrastructure. The centre has announced aid of 600 crore rupees so far, and putting an end to speculation over whether or not India would accept the 700 crore rupee aid offered by the UAE, the Ministry of External Affairs announced late Wednesday evening that it is declining the offer. It follows a convention in place for the last 15 years since the 2004 tsunami, when New Delhi had declined aid from the United States. It has since defined the disaster aid policy. Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan had earlier said that the UAE cannot be considered as any other nation, as Indians, especially Keralites, have contributed immensely in their nation building. All the President's Men has a 2018 version. It released on Tuesday, August 21st, to probably the worst day so far in the presidency of Donald Trump. Two gripping legal dramas reached a simultaneous crescendo with two of Trump's closest, his fix-it man or personal lawyer and former campaign manager, pleading guilty and being found guilty respectively of various federal offenses. In New York, Trump's longtime lawyer Michael Cohen pleaded guilty to 8 felony counts of tax fraud, bank fraud, and campaign finance violations, and implicated his former boss, the sitting president of the United States, in federal offenses. Cohen reportedly testified under oath that a candidate for federal office, that is Donald Trump, directed him to make illicit payments to 2 women, adult film actress Stormy Daniels and former Playboy model Karen McDougal, in 2016. Payments which were intended, he said, to influence the 2016 presidential elections, the Washington Post reported. The significance was underscored by Cohen's lawyer, who said, if those payments were a crime for Michael Cohen, then why wouldn't they be a crime for Donald Trump? Significantly, if Trump is guilty of violating campaign finance laws and a federal conspiracy, he cannot be indicted right away because he's the president. According to Vox, only Congress can address that wrongdoing by impeaching him. He could be charged for wrongdoing as president after leaving office, but not until after impeachment and removal or resignation. Meanwhile, former campaign chairman Paul Manafort was implicated in 8 felonies, including tax and bank fraud and failing to report a foreign bank account. Manafort is scheduled to go on trial next month in Washington, D.C. He's looking at a hefty sentence but counting on a presidential pardon in exchange for holding out and revealing incriminating evidence against his boss, according to the Daily Inquirer. There are now 5 people who worked for Trump in various capacities who've either pleaded guilty to or have been found guilty of serious crimes. This is a man, remember, who ran for president calling himself the candidate of law and order, a phrase he borrowed from Richard Nixon. A Buddhist woman in Indonesia who complained that her neighborhood mosque was too loud has been convicted for blasphemy and sent to prison for 18 months. The 44-year-old woman had complained that the call to prayer 5 times in a day at a mosque near her house was being played too loudly. Indonesia, which is the largest Muslim-majority country in the world, has a sizable number of religious minorities, including Buddhists and Christians. Indonesia had for long been acknowledged as pluralist and tolerant, but has in recent years seen a rise in religious intolerance and fundamentalism. And Rahi Sarnobat became the first Indian woman to win a gold medal in shooting at the Asian Games. She won a thrilling women's 25-meter air pistol final, edging out Thailand's En Yangpai-boon after 2 shoot-offs. Rahi took India's gold medal tally to 4. Meanwhile, the Indian men's hockey team has beaten Hong Kong 26-0, which is the biggest win margin they have ever recorded, an improvement over India's thrashing of the United States in the 1932 Olympics 24-1. Hong Kong, one must remember, is world number 25, and India as defending champions are favourites to bring home the gold.